Before watching this video, check out the last two videos on the muscular system. If you've already seen them, let's get started. Welcome students and all you curious folks out there. My name's Tarek and today we're going to talk about the muscular system. Our body has approximately 600 different muscles. So in this lesson, we're going to learn a little bit about each one of them. In general, muscles have some anatomical components, and that's what we're going to talk about. So what are they? Let's start with the muscle belly, which is the contractile part of the muscle, made up of muscle fibers that contract. It makes up the body of the muscle, its meatiest part. We also have tendons, which are connective tissue elements rich in collagen fibers and serve to attach the muscle belly to bones, subcutaneous tissues, or joint capsules. They also have a morphological appearance, resembling ribbons or cylinders. We have the aponeurosis, which is a structure made of connective tissue, a membrane that surrounds muscle groups. It usually appears in the form of a sheet or a fan. We also have tendon sheaths, which are structures that form bridges and tunnels between the bone surface and slide over the tendons. Their function is to contain the tendon, allowing it to glide more easily. We have synovial bursa, which are found between muscles or between a muscle and a bone. These are small sacs lined with a serous membrane that allows for muscle gliding. We also have the superficial fascia, which separates the muscle from the skin. The muscle fascia, which is a sheath or a broad band of fibrous connective tissue that lies beneath the skin and surrounds the muscles and other organs of the body. We have the epimysium, which is the outermost layer of connective tissue and surrounds the entire muscle. We have the perimysium, which surrounds groups of 10 to 100 individual muscle fibers, separating them into fascicle bundles. These fascicles can be seen with the naked eye. That's how big they are. And we have the endomysium, which is a thin layer of connective tissue that penetrates into each fascicle and separates the individual muscle fibers from their neighbors. Now that we've understood the morphology of the muscle, let's move on to how we can classify them. And there are a few ways, such as classification based on their location, whether they are superficial or cutaneous, which are muscles located just beneath the skin, and will have at least one attachment in the deepest layer of the dermis. Usually, we find these in the head, neck, or hand, or the deep muscles, which are those that do not have attachments in the deep layer of the dermis, but most of the time attached to bones. They're usually located deeper inside the body. For example, the pronator quadratus. We also have the classification based on shape with long muscles, which are those found especially in the limbs, or the more superficial ones are the longest, and they can span 2 or more joints, like for example the biceps. We have the short ones, which are found at the joints, whose movements have little range of motion and they don't use much strength or specialization, like for example the muscles of the hand. Or we have the broad muscles, which are characterized by being more sheet-like. They are found in the walls of large cavities, such as the thorax and abdomen. An example of this is the diaphragm. We can also have a classification related to the arrangement of the fibers, which can be straight, meaning parallel to the midline of the body. For example, the rectus abdominis, the transverse, which will be perpendicular to the midline of the body, for example, the transversus abdominis, and the oblique, which will be diagonal to the midline of the body, for example, the external oblique. Regarding origin and insertion, we have for origin, whether it originates from one or more tendons, for example, biceps, which has 2 tendons, quadriceps, which has 4 tendons, or in relation to insertion, when it inserts into one or more tendons, for example, the flexor digitorum longus. We also have classifications related to functions, such as the agonists are the main muscles that activate a specific body movement, and when they contract actively, they produce the desired movement. We have the antagonists, which are muscles that oppose the action of agonists. When the agonist contracts, the antagonist will relax. When the agonist contracts, the antagonist will progressively relax, resulting in a smoother movement. We also have the synergists, which are those that participate stabilizing the joints so that unwanted movements do not occur during their action. And we have the fixators, which are those that stabilize the origin of the agonists so that they can act more efficiently. They stabilize the proximal part of the limb when moving the distal part. And of course, we're not going to talk about the name of every single muscle because that would take too much time and be really boring. It's easier for you to follow the names in an anatomical atlas. So I'm going to talk just for you about the subdivisions of the muscles, which we'll call muscle groups. So we have a muscle group for the head, one for the neck, one for the chest, one for the abdomen, one for the posterior region of the trunk, one for the lower limbs, one for the upper limbs, the sense organs, and the perineum. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and share, and remember that we have a new video every week. So subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell to always get the latest updates. Thank you so much.